I'm just going to say a few words. I'm
जी.
not going to take more than 5 minutes because things are very clear. Sir showed everything that what we are earning and from where we are earning. So we are collecting taxes from the small businesses, and no one is ready to expand the business in Pakistan. From where we are collecting the taxes is the electricity, oil, oil exploration, which is OGDCL and so many other companies. And from where on the other side, we are collecting for minerals and so many things. So it means that sometime if we read environmental or resource economy, then we came to know that resource exploration is a key to grow the economy. So if you have resources, you can grow up, and there is a chances that your economy will grow in
ये
future.
बैठ करो ये ना पैसे खेलना पाएंगे.
Sorry. And the economy will grow in future. But the point is that when we are on the edge where we have no technology to explore the things, we are giving the chances to the other countries to come our country and explore the things and get the major share out of them. Even though one of my friend in OGDCL, his deputy director, told me that when we are digging something or well for the oil exploration, then Pakistan spend only 40%, and the 60% is remaining spent by the other country who is going to explore that one. And after that, once there is a reserves of oil and crude oil something, then they will take the 60% share of all the, you can say that the revenue from that one. So it means that what we are doing, we are giving our resources and everything to the hands of other people. But this is another thing. But the point is that we are putting a lot of taxes on these industries which are using these type of minerals and everything. So it means that the approach is not in the right direction. Let's see if we talk about the budgets. In last my presentation, I have presented something that we are failing to fulfill the budget because the expenditures are increasing exponentially, and what we are getting from taxes and non-taxes revenues, there is a small increase, but proportionally there is an increase. So where we are spending more of our income in NFC ward and debt servicing and so many things. So after that, we have nothing to, you can say that spend on the projects and other things. In 2021-22, Pakistan direct taxes, which is known as the, you can say that the FBR revenue, not direct and indirect, just I'm going to on the whole figure is FBR revenue is 5.8 trillion and non-tax revenue is 2.08. While in budget 22-23, it goes to 7 trillion, 5 to 7, 2 trillion increase in the taxes in 1 year. Then it's around 8 to 9 trillion in 23-24 budget. So after that, it's around 12 to 13 trillion in 24-25. So it means that we are trying to collect more and more taxes. What the sir was saying that we are imposing the taxes on those people who are already in tax circle. They are filer. What we are spending on the welfare of the economy and the other people after collecting the taxes. Even though so many people in the last our webinar, they are saying that there is no need to spend the income and the money on the people of thousands of employees of FBR because they are not doing their duty efficiently. But this is another thing. We are not going to explore this thing. So the overall thing is that our taxes, we are increasing our taxes, but there is a small increase in filers over the years, what we are collecting, we are imposing the taxes on the goods which are used frequently in Pakistan, like electricity. We are imposing the taxes more and more on the electricity, even the crude oil. Now, in the last days, I read a post that the government is going to increase the 17 rupees of levy tax on the petrol. So it means that you are also going to target another thing, which is a very common use. So if you are imposing the taxes on the petrol and everything, it means that you are going to create another inflation circle. So this cycle will increase the, you can say that the living cost of the people. So I think so. Sir, I just also want something from you that in Dr. Nadimullah webinar, one person, I think so, Dr. Shabbar Zadi or maybe Mr. Shabbar Zadi or someone who is Shahid Kardar said that there
Hmm.
is no need to collect direct taxes via FBR. You have to dissolve the FBR. If we are, you have to impose the indirect taxes. There is no need because the direct taxes are paying very less people, but the things which we are enjoying with the whole economy is enjoying the things, but the taxpayers are very less. So we have to be, you can say that we have to justify this thing. We have to impose the indirect tax as compared to the direct tax. And in this way, there is no need to there is no need to employ thousands of people in FBR and related institutions which from there are they are collecting the taxes. So I think so. Uh, the basic nitty gritty is explained by Sir Mahmood Khalid, and I'm not going into it. But the problem is that with the every new budget, we are imposing more and more taxes. It means that we are increasing the burden on the people of this country. But on the other side, we are unable to meet our expenditures. On the other side, we are getting the loan from the other institutions, countries, and everything. So, sir, one thing which is also very important, I just want to ask you this question also. So, why we are unable to collect the revenue according to our expenditures? Is there any, you can say that miscalculation over the years which we are doing? Because if we are assuming that in budget 25-26, we are going to spend around 20 trillion, but our budget is around 70 trillion, so revenue is 70 trillion. So we are spending 20 trillion only three things, like we are spending on NFC world around 10 trillion, then debt servicing 9 trillion or 7 trillion, then remaining defense and everything is over. So all the remaining expenditures are fulfilled with by taking the loan from commercial banks, of domestic commercial banks, and for dollar paying or imports, we are taking the loan from the other countries or the foreign debt service. So over to you, sir.
Well, your points are very valid. It shows the research which you have done, and especially the way you have been connecting with the relevant economists of Pakistan. To the first comment which Shahid Kardar made in terms of that how the FBR actually is not collecting. So what he wanted to tell us is that almost 70% of the income tax or the direct tax is
Yes,
collected through the withholding tax.
yes,
That's one. Second thing is that if you look at the voluntary based taxes, again, it is voluntary in nature.
yes,
So there is one category which we call as out of demand. Out of demand is that portion of the tax which is collected where the FBR people actually looks into the data, they actually go to the field and then they observe those gaps or those individuals who are not paying their due share. That unfortunately has shrunken a lot. And that is nowadays, it's not more than maybe 1 or 2% of the total collection. So from that perspective, he said that if you're not doing the job, then
yes,
why are you so much paid? Because generally speaking, what the FBR tells us is that there is a term called as C efficiency, the cost of collection versus the collection. And
Yes.
they say that compare it with across the region, and you would find out that Pakistan is the best. The reason is that you're not doing your job yourself. You have basically put your job on the shoulders of the others. So from that perspective, what he said that we may be putting or saying too much in terms of the direct taxes, whereas actually the FBR is not doing anything. On the second side, in terms of whether we are able to make our expenditures according to our resources or not, yes. If you look at the last year's figure, our primary balance was positive. So that means that if you take out the interest expense, then we are balanced. That means that we are collecting enough taxes to pay for our today's expenditure. I'm not saying that whether the expenditures are good or bad. That's a separate discussion. But technically speaking, what we are doing is that we are collecting enough for our today's expenditures. The problem actually is for that debt interest cost which we have to bear and we have to repay for the past. It would have been easy if there was economic growth, if there was some rate of return to our excessive expenditures in the past, then it would have been easy. And for that, the quality of expenditures really need to improve. Just to talk you through this, uh, we have done analysis in terms of the public sector development program. For every project, there is a document which is developed called as PC1, in which there is a feasibility, there is an economic analysis, and if the cost benefit analysis says that the rate of return is higher as compared to the cost, then the project is selected. So once we do that analysis and we say that the project is good, what we do with that project is that we do not fund it accordingly. The project is delayed. So there is a time and cost overrun, and the scope of the project also changes. So just think about a business in which you are borrowing money, because we always borrow and spend, and that borrowing is spent on a negative rate of return project. So my bridge was positive rate of return if
Yes.
it was
Yes.
given resources accordingly, if it completed in time. If it did
Yes.
not complete in time, if the cost was escalated 50 times more, then the project is giving a negative rate of return. So just imagine Pakistan government each year spends around 700, 800 billion at the federal. If you include the provincial spending, that is close to 2 trillion on such projects in which the rate of return is negative. So that means they're dragging the economy rather than
Yes.
giving positive rate of return. So from that perspective, even the development expenditures are not good enough to be carried out. So
Yes,
that
sir.
is why we say that if you simply stop paying, stop doing that projects, maybe the economy would grow rather than to contract. At the same time, if you look at how the debt management is done, if you have just mentioned yourself the non-tax revenue. One of the bigger items in the non-tax revenue is the state bank's profit. Do you know that what's the amount of profit which was committed in the last year's budget? 2.5 trillion. So the
Okay.
state bank was supposed to give back to the government of Pakistan, federal government, 2.5 trillion. And where would it come from? Two primary businesses. One is holding the Pakistan investment bond, and the second was the open market operations. In both the
Yes.
cases, what the state bank was doing, that they were basically offering the banks
ओए, नासरा तेरा friend, मैं शर्म नहीं है। लानत है बे।